What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the King of Class, Andy Bivians, and you're listening to JB on the Wrestling Hotline. Stay classy, my friends.
Welcome, my friends, to the Wrestling Hotline. I'm JB, and on the show today we have the world-famous King of Class, Andy Bivians. He is one-third of PRR Incorporated, and this coming Saturday night, they take on Team Cool Pants at the OTW's premier event, Soul Survivor, at 7 p.m. Get your tickets now at the OTW Arena or by calling 856-513-6901. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the program the King of Class himself, Andy Bivians. Andy, welcome to the program.
Hey, JB, how are you?
I'm doing well, man.
What's going?
Yeah, man, my pleasure, my pleasure. All right, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Andy Bivians?
Andy Bivians is just like the King of Class. Everything I do is pretty much over the top. And to other people, they would think I'm crazy for doing certain things. Like, if I want to go out, I'm literally going to rent a VIP room, or I'm going to get a limo to take us from point A to point B just to have a great night, you know?
All right, man. So tell me, how did you get into the business? Were you young? Were you a big wrestling fan when you were a young kid?
Oh, a huge wrestling fan. When I was younger, I watched wrestling all the time with my dad, with my friends. Me and my friends actually did a safe version of backyard wrestling, so to speak. Like, we went to other friends' houses, and we put down mattresses, and we would have matches in front of our friends and family, and we actually, started renting out a ring, and that's when I started training for the great OTW now.
All right, so what appealed to you about wrestling? Was it the camaraderie, the stardom? What brought that into you that said, "Hey, I want to be a wrestler"?
With wrestlers, it's the larger than life appearance. It's the effect that they have on not just kids but also adults. It's how popular, how famous they are, but it's also their agility, their look, how certain people can move in so many different ways. It's amazing to see, like, 328-pound guys being able to, fly in the air or run across the ring the way they do. It's the way they're in shape, all of it, from the aspect of being on TV and the aspect of everything that's going on with it. Everything just drew me in.
With pro wrestling, it's like you create a persona. Like, you're the King of Class. You're very elegant. You're over the top. You drink the best. You go to the best places. You're dating the best ladies.
Exactly.
It's just one of those things that's why I think your character is very catchy. Because a lot of people want to be you, and that's something that draws young kids, like you were saying. It draws adults. It's what they're not, and that's what draws them to you. And I think that's really cool. How long have you been wrestling professionally?
I'll be working on my 8th year now. I debuted December 1st of 2007.
And it's something that you think in the long haul, you see yourself, moving up the chain, not only from the OTW going to these bigger, bigger independent brands, and possibly on to the WWE or TNA or NXT.
I hope so. That's my overall goal, is to either be a part of WWE or be a part of NXT and TNA.
All right, so tell me, as an OTW member, part of the Fan Nation, what does the OTW have to offer their fans? I mean, why should I come, and why should fans come this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. to see Soul Survivor? What can they expect?
First off, they can expect a stacked card, head to toe, curtain to curtain, bell to bell. We have so many great matches listed. I mean, you have myself with PR Incorporated against Team Cool Pants. You have Brian Johnson putting his career on the line against Justin Plusser. You have Adam Chandler the Great going up against Bazooka Joe for the heavyweight title. Every single match is going to be amazing, 100% guarantee. And not only that, OTW, when you go to professional wrestling shows, you have that barricade that blocks the wrestlers from the fans. Granted, the fans, are still in their seats at OTW, but I feel that the wrestlers of old-time wrestling are definitely a lot more personable with the fans. I mean, you either love us or you hate us. And I think that's one of the things that the fans love, especially kids. The kids love being able to interact with their favorite wrestler, being able to talk to their favorite wrestler, take pictures with their favorite wrestler. And that's what you're able to do at Old Time Wrestling.
I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, I was there one night and I was watching the guys, hit the ropes, doing some training, getting ready for the big event this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. I mean, it was really cool. They're average people. They came down and they shook my hand. They introduced themselves very cordially. It's, nobody there, which is one thing that I liked. Nobody had an ego. All, they're all in it for the common cause. They all want to better themselves. And, as a fan of the WWE, you could be sitting, 100 feet from your favorite wrestler, but you can never physically get that personal connection. If a wrestler in the WWE high fives you, that's about as close as you're going to get. Where, at the OTW, fans can actually meet and greets. They can shake hands. They can take pictures. This is what really drew me to this, this company, is that you guys really enjoy when your fans feed off of you guys. I mean, that's a big part of, creating something and making it bigger and better. Tell me, who do you have a favorite wrestler? I mean, is there someone, now past that is, who you've always idolized?
My favorite wrestler growing up has always been Ric Flair.
The Nature Boy.
The reason why I say Ric Flair is, as a kid, seeing Ric Flair come out in these grand, elaborate robes and seeing Ric Flair in these long stretch limousines, these jet airplanes, like literally living the high life each and every night. Not even talking about being what I think is probably the greatest worker in professional wrestling. But just his persona is what drew me to him.
You know what's funny? I'll tell a story. Probably about 10 years ago, I was a limo driver, and I tell the story a lot because it's very, very weird. About 10 years ago, I was a limo driver, and I got a call to pick a wrestler up at the Marriott that is down at Philly International Airport. And the person that booked me for this knew that I was a big wrestling fan, so they said, "Hey, you're going to go and pick Ric Flair up." And I'm like, "Okay, it's nothing big." So I go to the hotel. It's a bit, hypothetically, let's just say I had to pick him up at 1:00 because there was an event over at the I guess at the time it was probably like Core States Arena or First Union Center. So 1:00 rolls around. I walk in. I said, "Hey, I'm here to pick up Ric Flair. He's the limo. I'm the limo driver." Well, they say Mr. Flair hasn't gotten out of the gym and he hasn't gotten a shower yet. He's probably going to be another hour. So about an hour goes by, and these two kids, probably about 14 and 15 years old, comes up to me and says, "Hey, is there any way we can get Ric Flair's autograph?" And that split second, it was so weird because I was on the other side. I was the guy saying, he didn't want any autographs. They made it very clear, no autographs. He just wants to get in, and he wants to get in the limo and be done. So I said, "Hey guys, listen. Unfortunately, he just wants to get in and out, and wants to be in the car and on his way." So downstairs he comes. The Nature Boy Ric Flair comes up to me. The weirdest thing happened when he walked up to me. He says, "Sir, is there any way that you can grab me a coffee, cream, sugar, whatever he wanted?" And it was weird because every other word out of his mouth to me, this 25-year-old kid, is hearing from a legend that he's always idolized, just like you have, "Sir, sir, sir." He must have said "sir" 50 times to me, and I was just very humbled. Like not only on TV does he portray this guy with class and just respect. It was weird because he he gave me respect, and I'm just some measly limo driver at the time. So I take him over there, and one of the things in the limo business was you can't talk to any celebrity unless, what's the saying? Speak only when spoken to. So sure enough, I'm driving him over. He says, "Hey kid, are you a big fan?" And I'm like, "Bingo, there's my opportunity. let me start. Let me start talking to him. So I said, Mr. Flair, I'm a big fan of yours. So he gets a phone call in the middle of it, and who is it but Dave Bautista? This is when they were with Evolution. So Dave Bautista's on the phone. They're talking about the match and all that stuff. But the overall senses of the interaction I had with him was like, wow, this guy is. I'm so humbled, and he's so humbled. He's not. The over-the-top guy that everybody perceives him. He breathes class and respect, and he gives it out, which it's just a small story, but, I thought it was really, really neat. That's pretty cool, wouldn't you think?
That's really cool, especially being a wrestling fan and being able to meet your idol. Like that's a big deal to people,
Yep.
And that's another reason of why I love, being a pro wrestler and having that interaction with fans sometimes is that, short story, but there was, a time in my life where I was in a rut and I was thinking about giving up and, stop wrestling. And I went to a show, and this little kid came up to me, and he had a white T-shirt on, and he looked like he drew the shirt himself. And the front of the shirt said, "Best wrestler ever," and then on the back of the shirt, written in marker, it had my name on it. And the feeling I had there, it's like, I can't let him down, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's what made me like, I got to keep doing this. I got to keep pursuing this. One way or another, I got to keep going.
It's just like living out a fantasy. You've always wanted the attention. The easiest way, unfortunately, it is to become a pro wrestler or anything where you're in the limelight, where people look at you different. Even though you're the average guy, outside of the ring, people perceive you as something that they want to be. There's something that attracts them to, whether it's your character, your persona, or just you in general. So tell me, what's your feeling before a big match? Like, obviously this coming Sunday against Team Cool Pants at Soul Survivor. Well, what goes through your mind before a big match?
Just going out there and giving my all. Feeling, if you're not nervous, then you don't belong in the ring. And I've heard that said, and it's true. If you're not nervous before a show, you don't belong in the ring at all. Coming up to Soul Survivor, it's a little different. Everybody knows PR Incorporated and Team Cool Pants don't get along. And this is no different. Now I'm nervous for the big event, and I'm nervous for putting on the best show possible.
This is like the match of your life.
Exactly. But at the same point, I'm still angry. I'm still mad. I legitimately don't like Team Cool Pants. I don't even know why the fans gave them that stupid name. It sounds stupid to me, but hey, they're Team Cool Pants. They're trying to make a name for themselves. I get it.
I just keep thinking SpongeBob for some reason, like SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
Who's your I guess as a tag team member or as a singles, who was your toughest match against?
I got a couple of them. Off the top of my head, I would have to say there's three of them. Top would be number one, Brian Johnson.
How come?
Brian Johnson, when you go into a match with Brian Johnson, it's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different playing field. It's a whole different ball game. Along with Adam Chandler the Great. Both of those two, when you go into a match with them, it's a completely different level. It's a higher level of athleticism. It's a higher level of power. It's just everything about the match is different. Adam Chandler the Great, he's a lot bigger than me, height-wise and, muscle-wise. He's a lot bigger than me. I'm a 185-pound kid, With Brian Johnson's quicker than me. He's more agile than me. Like, he studies tape like a monster. So everything I think I know, he knows 10 times more,
Yeah, I mean, when he was here, he was just firing stuff off. Like 1993, this happened, and I'm just like, oh my god, dude! Like you study, and that's one thing with wrestling. It's just like football. It's you have to study tape. You have to study your opponent. This is how you honed your craft and make yourself better. Let me ask you another question: is the OTW the only wrestling company that you wrestle for right now?
I currently wrestle for UWC out in, I forget where they're located at. They used to be located out of Browns Mills, New Jersey.
Okay.
But now I know they're moving around a lot more. They're doing shows in different venues now. In the past, I have wrestled for MAWA in New Jersey, DCW out in Delaware, a couple different other promotions.
All right, cool. So how do you want to see the OTW grow? Like, if you were the owner, what would be one thing, or it could be numerous things that you want to see happen to make the OTW bigger than it is right now?
I would love to see the OTW perform in even bigger, grander stages than where they are now. And I would love to see them, still surviving 5, 10, 15 years down the road from now. More people, more fans, more publicity, anything that would help old-time wrestling grow. I definitely 100% want that to happen. And I believe it. I believe with our roster, the way we train, I believe 100% that OTW will be around for a very, very long time.
All right, tell me how this feud with Team Cool Pants actually came about.
I always laugh every time we have to say Team Cool Pants.
Team Cool Pants.
Team Cool Pants. So going back, I took on Dave Davis for the Old Time Wrestling Classic Championship in a Best of 5 series, which ended in a last man standing match. Dave was victorious and kept my Old Time Wrestling crown. And my partner, Craig Francis, took on a person by the name of Tyler Scott, who injured him back, I think it was the beginning of this year or last year, and took out his shoulder. He was out of wrestling for a while. Francis finally came back from wrestling, and him and Tyler Scott had their huge fight. Like, they both legitimately hate each other. And Francis was in an I Quit match and actually lost to Tyler Scott. Now, I think it was Ike and Calvin were sitting out in the crowd, and they decided it would be cool to laugh at Francis for losing to Tyler Scott. Now, Francis has been in the business for a couple of years. I've been in the business going on 8 years. They've been in the business for a cup of tea. Like, who are they to laugh at us? Like, that's disrespectful to me. That's disrespectful to Francis. So, we confronted them about it, and everything was all right. A couple shows down the road. Now they want to stick their nose in PR Incorporated's business, costing us matches, putting their hands on my manager, Mr. Patrick Richard Ream, just to get a match with myself, Craig Francis, and Patrick Richard Ream. To me, I get it. You're an up-and-coming superstar. You want to make a name for yourself in the business. That's cool. But how dare you make a name for yourself off of myself? How dare you make a name for yourself off of PR Incorporated? When I first started, I was 140 pounds, soaking wet. I was a skinny kid, and I get it. It's hard to make a name for yourself. It's hard to try and get yourself noticed. But I would never go after somebody at that caliber to try to make a name for myself, because I knew what I had to do to get there, And them, they don't care. They just want to make a name for themselves. They're tired of PR Incorporated or whatever they say. To us, do you want to try to make a joke out of us? You're going to get hurt. And that's exactly where it's come. Now it's come down to respect. Like, you want to sit here and laugh at my face? How dare you? You can't even lace my boots, let alone step in the ring with me, So for Team Cool Pants coming up this weekend, they finally get their big match under the sun, under the lights. I get it. They finally get their big exposure. But their big exposure is going to come to a high cost, because I physically don't like them. So in my mind, I'm going to try to shove my foot down their throat at the end of the day.
That sounds I mean, you know what's weird? On the flip side, I mean, if these guys are up and coming, of all the people to go for, why not go for the big guys in PRR Incorporated? I mean, if you guys are at the pinnacle right now and at the top of your game, why not go for you guys? I mean, on their side, why not?
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, come for us because I mean, hey, if by some miraculous gift to God they defeat PR Incorporated at Soul Survivor, then that's a big deal. I'm the longest reigning old-time wrestling classic champion that we have to date. So to beat me, like, that's a huge deal.
To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Exactly.
There you go.
Whoever, beats us, that may set them up for a shot at the OTW Classic Champion. The Classic Champion beat me. They pinned me. Hey, why not a shot at the Classic title? I get that. To laugh and make a mockery out of PR Incorporated, to think that they're better than PR Incorporated, that's where I draw the line. That's where they need to realize that they're just with the OTW fan nation. They're with their own peasants. Like, they can't stand on the rung that the King of Class stands on. They can't stand on the rung that Patrick Richard Ream, that Craig Francis, the most interesting man, stands on. They have to fight their way up the ladder first to get to us.
All right, so tell me, what do you think of pro wrestling pro wrestling today? The WWE, NXT, TNA. Where do you think the direction of pro wrestling today is heading?
I'm still 100% a fan of professional wrestling, whether it comes to WWE, NXT, TNA. I absolutely love the product that's going on right now. I think NXT is a great show. And WWE just keeps producing amazing guys. I mean, you got guys like Bray Wyatt that reminds me when I was younger of The Undertaker, in a different sense because of who he is. But hey, that same mind games and stuff like that, I think the product is awesome.
He's the new face of fear.
Yeah.
And what do you think of TNA, the direction that they're going? I mean, I've seen them flip around a million times. Now their announcers they're not even at the arena. They're in some studio in like Tennessee. I mean, are you buying into the product that they're putting out?
Yeah, I still think TNA is a great product. Whether it be their announcers ringside, whether their announcers be at the studios, they're still filling seats. They're still hosting shows. They're still hosting pay-per-views, and they still have a great line of talent. I think that they're going to be definitely moving up within the years.
All right, so you've been in the business for a little bit now. What would you give? What's one piece of advice, just one piece of advice that you'd say to someone trying to break into this business? A 13-year-old kid comes up to you and says, Andy, I want to break into the business. What are you telling them?
I would say do their research. Definitely look up a great credited school that's been open for a couple years, not like.
Now, you guys have, real quick, the OTW does have a wrestling school, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, you can find out more information on the wrestling school at oldtimewrestling.net, oldtimewrestling.net. We have great trainers. They run, I forget what the weekly schedule is because I'm from New York, so I'm only up there on Saturdays. But I know all their information is up there. We do wrestling schools. They do birthday parties for kids if you want to get in the ring and, wrestle around with all your friends and stuff like that. It's a great place.
All right, man. So how can people follow you? Do you have a Facebook or Twitter page?
Yeah, I have both. They can follow me on Twitter at ThrillShock. And for my Facebook page, they can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/The Thriller, ANDDBIVIANS. The Thriller, Andy Bivens.
All right, I'd like to thank Andy Bivens for being on the show today. Catch him this Saturday at the OTW for Soul Survivor at 7 p.m. Get your tickets now. Andy, thanks for being on the show, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It was a blast.
Not a problem.